searching high and low for its matching part. Over and over, ending where
In the
we
12-step
start.
world, I refer
I've
to
got
12-step
a
terms a
clean
lot.
heart.
It's our singleness of
You're
purpose that
still
binds
on
us
my
together.
mind.
I agree with that.
Ever
I
since
think that's an
waking
accurate
my arm
accurate
around
description of the
my
phenomenon.
words that
And true friends share in each other's joy and also in each other's sorrow. True friends do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I'm lucky too to call the guys who are in my band now, some of my best friends, and again, I mean, I'm just so insanely lucky to have found good people, especially having been in bands with bad people, and having brought people into my band that didn't work out,
Right.
not because they were mean or malicious people or anything, just they weren't the right people for the band, and it's tough.
Well, did you ever look at another perspective, Tim, and uh, maybe think that, okay, well, I'm certainly very fortunate to be with them. Do you ever think that they're fortunate to be with you?
Uh, I definitely it's one of those things where, again, part of um, being humble about it, I always ask the guys whenever I send out a song, for instance, what do you think? Do you like this song? Because I found that it will never work, at least in the band that I run in my experience, it will never work if you try to make someone else play or think like another musician. If you hire someone and say, "Hey, I want you to be Jimi Hendrix," or "I want you to pretend that you're Keith Moon," or whoever, it's never going to work because they will always be themselves doing an impression of that, and you're going to lose that genuine artifact. So I think it's really important that they all enjoy what they do and feel like they have something to bring to the table. And as far as to answer the question, they tell me yes a lot more times than no. So so I take that as a okay. I'm doing a good job, and I'm keeping them interested and engaged.
Well, Tim, there's a difference between, and I help people differentiate between confidence and arrogance. Confident people you like to be around, arrogant people, not so much. So, if you had to make some statements, I, Tim Vitullo, am confident that,
I'm definitely confident as a guitarist, and I'm confident that if you are a part of my band, I'm not going to waste your time. I would say those are the things that I'm confident about musically. That hey, I think I'm pretty good at the guitar, and that I can do what you need me to do, and if and I'm not going to waste your time.
how about personally?
I'm confident that I'm hardworking and probably am a workaholic. If I were to be honest, and if some of the people around me were to say, I'm sure they would use that phrase.
Okay. Are you confident that you know the difference between right and wrong, Tim?
Yeah,
Are you confident that you have a moral compass?
yeah.
Are you confident that you treat people with courtesy and respect?
I'm confident that I do at times. I'm sure, or I can, as I'm thinking about it, I know for a fact that there are times that I haven't, and I've regretted it afterward.
Well, sure. Well, absolutely. Well, you're certainly human. What we try to help people understand is everyone's job, everyone's objective is to do no intentional harm to anyone or anything. And my thoughts are that if you're not doing any intentional harm to anyone or anything, then you can walk down the street. You could walk down the south side or down the streets of Pittsburgh with a bozo the clown wig on and a big red nose. And you're not hurting anyone. Operate a lot on helping people making choices. Most people grow up, Tim, with words like I should, I have to, I need to, I must. And those are self defeating words. What we help people understand that if they understand and are willing to accept the consequences, everything in their life's a choice.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Um, I think it is, and there is a power in making the decision. Either in hey, I've decided to do something, and it's one action, or in a series of actions that lead through to a decision. And I remember kind of making the decision to be a songwriter. It wasn't like, the lightning bolt came down one day and there I was. There, I think therefore I am. It was a lot of late nights after work, probably drinking too much coffee, staying up too late, not getting a lot of sleep, and trying to figure out how to do this thing. And it again, it wasn't a light switch, but after a few months of doing it, well, here's a handful of songs that I feel pretty good about and think people might want to hear, and that you just kind of get that momentum rolling, and then after some time you've realized you've made a decision.
Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. It'll always materialize if we work for them. The slowly part is something that there's some people have a difficult time dealing with.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, and especially now, I find myself getting impatient. Just because social media and Amazon and all these things have conditioned me to do it. It's important to be able to know when you're being impatient or when something is not. Like I think I'm pretty level-headed about a lot of things, and it takes a lot to get me kind of riled up and upset about something. But there are times with writing or other things that it pays off sometimes to to exhibit that patience.
Well, how do you deal with people who talk to you about the dreaded writer's block, Tim?
Yeah, it's one of those things like you kind of use the word self-defeating, and I think that is a self-defeating word because as soon as you allow yourself to admit that, like if you say, hey, I have writer's block, like it becomes, for me at least, and maybe other people are different, it becomes an instant rationalization, like, well, I have writer's block, so therefore I'm not going to write anything today. I'm going to watch Netflix, or I'm gonna go do something else or whatever. So I never try to think about it or to gauge how prolific I am and try to be concerned about that. It's always I've always tried to focus on the quality of the work I do, and I think it's really important, especially doing creative work, to understand when you're in the right state to do that work, and when you're just kind of grinding yourself against the stone needlessly. And you know, it, there are some songwriters who can just sit down and do that, and I envy the hell out of those people because they're amazing. But for me, it's important to recognize that. So I never get apprehensive if I haven't written anything in a while, um, just because I don't want to write it off as, oh, hey, it's just a bad time.
Well, one of the questions for songwriters always is, Tim, how did you come up with that song? Where did it come from? What was your inspiration? What do you say to people?
Uh, it's so for me, I love songwriters who are able to capture the human condition. I think, I mean, people are fascinating. They act in such mysterious ways. Um, I'm surprised by how people act and by how people do things every day. Maybe I'm just not pervasive or something, but I just find the human condition fascinating. And it's anything for me. I've gotten away from, or have always really tried to not uh, write about my life, or make my writing autobiographical. There are a lot of writers who do it, and it's phenomenal. And the songs are more powerful because you understand all that backstory and you can see the mastery of the art that went into telling that story. But it's small interactions with people, it's phrases people say, it's the way people react to things. I take a lot of notes on my phone. It has that notes app, and I just